In-game live game day continues. I am Gabriel Morency. We're throwing it down here Sunday night football. We're having some technical difficulties behind the scenes right now, getting our guests on, but they're working on it. We're working on it. So it's just you and me for now. Tom Vecchio will step up and in at the half with the halftime show. So these refs, and it's funny, we went over the refs with our ref guru, Joe Gibbs, on Friday night, actually, on SportsGrid Game Day on Friday night. And it's amazing. All the refs played a character, right? Like all these refs played a character. We talked about this crew and this crew. Now they call this like they're all over the place, these guys. Another penalty. Like these refs are definitely, they're watching everything. We talked about this crew watching the offensive line closely as well, and they are watching the offensive line closely. So Tampa are going backwards right now. They're in a second and 24. They're in a long situation, and they're trailing the football game 7-3. Anybody that's – here's another flag on the play. Here's holding. You know, like if you're Tampa Bay, guys, like these are penalties. I'm not blaming a ref for it, by the way. I didn't think the roughing the passer one was stupid, but like I said, this ref, he's not playing around. You know what I mean? Every crew has a different attitude, and this guy clearly his attitude is, I'm going to call a penalty on you if it's a penalty. Right? And this is a playoff game. Like you should not, you know what I mean? This stuff shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be like Tampa are very, very out of rhythm, and they're in a 3rd and 22 right now, deep in their own territory. Baker Mayfield's running for his life, and you ain't going to run for 22 yards, bro. So he dumps it off. They get some of it back. They're going to have to punt the football right now. The Washington Commanders sideline is very excited. And anybody that's watched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down the stretch, this really isn't a shock. You know what I mean? I was thinking, all right. And also, like, the crowd's all fired up. Like where's the energy? Very similar to the Green Bay Packers today, in which they didn't have the energy of, like, a playoff team. Like, the Broncos had energy of a playoff team today. They just weren't as good as the Bills. You know what I mean? They were running fake punts. They were fired up. They were flying around and stuff. They just weren't as good, right? You know what I mean? The Packers, same thing with the Steelers yesterday. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell it was a playoff game with the Steelers. Like, there was no urgency at all until, like, the fourth quarter. All right, so the Commanders get a nice little punt return. They return it past their 30-yard line right now, so the Commanders get the football back. So, yeah, like, there was no, like, the Bills got beat early today, like, on a bomb, like, on the the fourth play of the game. But the Bills, like, were playing angry. Like, they, Josh Allen was really fired up before the game, and, like, you could see that yesterday with the Ravens. Right? Like the Ravens, we saw it with the Ravens. The Ravens had an energy to them, right? The Bills had an energy. Like, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, no energy. You're playing a playoff game. And another thing is, too, the Tampa Bay fans and this stadium isn't exactly known for being, like, this stadium isn't really known for being, like, some, like, hostile, tough place to play in. They don't even sell out their games normally. But you see tonight, it's hopping in there. The stadium's rocking. That's why I always tell people, like, that, when people say, oh, the building's going to be rocking, yeah, it doesn't help. I mean, if the team isn't good. But Tampa, and we've got Dave Delano ready to step up and in, but Tampa last week, or whatever it was, against Carolina, right? The last couple of games, man, go back to that Dallas game on Sunday Night Football. Like, the Buccaneers really haven't, we were all talking about, oh, they're a dangerous team. They can play with anybody, and then in the playoffs and stuff. The last 3-4 weeks, and ironically enough, it's been their offense. Like, there's all the talk about the Buccaneer defense all the time. The Buccaneer offense has been stalling, and they're just not really clicking. And they haven't, actually, for like I said, the last month or so. Dave Delano, we finally break through. Technology works most of the time. It let us down briefly, but we've got you on, Dave. Good to see you. How you doing, Delano?
You on TV, of course. Glad you're able to see me today.
Hey, so another game here. 3 of the 4 games have gone under the number in the playoffs so far, Dave. And ironically enough, the one game that goes over is the one that people thought would go under with the Chargers and the Texans. And here we go again. Total has fallen, closed at 51.5. Total has fallen all the way down to 42.5 right now. As I was just saying, Tampa's offense has not been in sync.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I don't like to jump on too many overs. I know everybody likes to see them, but first round of the playoffs, I don't like to jump on too many overs. I jumped on one over, though, and it actually was in this game that we're talking about right now that's going on between Tampa Bay and Washington. I've got really two plays on this, both to the over. I took the over 50 straight up and then also teased it with the Bills over 44. Figured if that full game total didn't hit the over 44.
Yeah, a little bit of insurance.
But we definitely got some work to do. Hopefully, I'm thinking, always being optimistic, if we could just get both of these teams to 17 points before the fourth quarter, I think that we'll get there. But a lot of work to do right now.
Yeah, you know what? There's still some football left, but the clock is ticking, actually, right? It's a little over 7 minutes left now. We'll see what Washington does. If Washington come up with a big play here, listen, I got the over as well in this football game, and we're battling uphill again. It's just been an uphill battle for over bettors all weekend with these games, and the playoffs changed, Dave. I talked about it. We had the random touchdown score with Brown scoring the first touchdown of the game, and before that happened, I was talking about how you get random touchdown scores, and one of the reasons why I think a lot of these games are going under as well is. And it's, the regular season is different, man. People are going to, they're going to air it out. They're going to do their thing, and there's a different flow to it. You get into the playoffs, the clock starts ticking faster. Coaches get more conservative, as we've seen over the weekend as well, right? They're not, not many people have gone for it. I know Washington did earlier and got burnt, but that's kind of a rarity. And the other thing is, what happens in the playoffs, Dave, it's almost like the NBA. We're going to take your star players away. The third option is going to have to play well to beat us. Right, and you see this right now in the NFL. Right, we're going to take Mike Evans out of this. We're going to take McLaurin out of it. You're going to have to throw it to a Brown, and they successfully did. But then you get these games, and they're going under the number right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with more at stake, you get a little bit more conservative play calling, and not the offense is hurrying up quite as much. They want to make sure that they get the right plays in there. Everything's going on. Nobody wants to make mistakes. And then a lot of these guys, too, a lot of these games, you got quarterbacks in their first playoff game. I mean, right now, Jaden Daniels, he had an outstanding season, but, still a rookie, first playoff game. Bo Nix, first
he's played well.
Yeah,
he's played better than Mayfield so far.
Exactly. And even in that, the Steelers-Ravens game, obviously, Russell Wilson's been around a long time, but new team, first time in the playoffs in that system. So there's still a lot of guys trying to figure things out and, still uncharted waters for a lot of them.
Here's the Commanders moving the ball to midfield right now. They got a 1st and 10 at about the 50 after Jaden Daniels scramble. Did you play a side of this game or you just played a total? And guys, like I said, this is like watching a stock drop, man. It's down to 40.5 right now. Maybe at some point we'll get that buy-in, but we're not biting yet. I always bite too. I've bitten too early. I bit too early the other night during the college football playoff game. But here's Jaden Daniels doing it with his legs now. Such a dynamic quarterback, Dave. But did you play a side of this game before the game, or did you just play the over?
I just played the over. I was tempted to take a side in this one. I like the Commanders a little bit, but the fan of me, I want to see Tampa Bay win. Only have a wager on the total. So I'm cheering for Tampa Bay kind of just as a fan here. But it was one of those games I didn't like picking Tampa. I kind of liked picking Washington, but I really want to see Tampa win this game. So
we've only had one underdog win, and they were a 3-point underdog only. So we'll see if another 3-point underdog can pull out the outright win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books are, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. The wildest Sunday in football is here. Start your day at 8 a.m. with Fantasy Sports Today. Then at 10 a.m., Pro Football Today breaks down every angle before the triple header kicks off. Stay with In-Game Live as we chase those parlays, props, and live bets across all three wild card showdowns. Don't miss a minute. Only on SportsGrid.
I am Gabe Morency, and Game Live Game Day continues. Man, this thing's like an Army-Navy game. Nobody's like nothing. No, there's no scoring, and it's 7-3, but it's happened. You know what I mean? There's no long drive. It's just the middle of the field all the time. Tick, 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 tick. The clock is just, and I don't know. The playoffs, the clock seems to tick faster. Like I said, like they shorten the game, right? Like Dave just said, and I've been talking about Dave Delano and else with us. Nobody is snapping the ball like too early in the play clock. You notice nobody's in a rush. They don't want to make a mistake. McLaurin just nearly made a wicked catch in the end zone. So now we got a 4th and 6 coming up. They're going to be kicking a field goal. And it's actually a pretty long field goal. It's going to be about a 52-yard field goal attempt. 2-minute warning. So our apologies to Dave because he spent a lot of time trying to get in, and now we got a halftime show coming up. So what do you think of tomorrow's game, Dave? And then we'll take a look at the point spreads for next week. What do you think of the Rams and the Viking game?
Well, I know we've been talking about a lot of games going under the total so far, and this one is on the way. I think a lot of people like the over tomorrow. It's not really a comfortable play for me, but I think tomorrow is a good play for under the total. I know it's indoors. I know that these are two teams that can put up a lot of points, but, we're looking at towards the end of the season there. We got a Rams team that held their opponents to 10 points or less in 3 out of those last 4 games. Rams, they allowed less than 21 points per game on the road this season. Vikings scored less than 21 points per game on the road. And this is still actually going to be Sam Darnold's first postseason game as a starting quarterback. So that's always big. I know that they combined for 50 points, had that late safety, but it didn't fly over the first time. The Rams held the Vikings to under 300 yards of total offense. I think that we're going to see a little bit of a low-scoring game, and I actually like the Rams as well. I like the Rams on the money line. I think it's been a little bit of I know the line shifted a little bit towards the Vikings. Right now, money line, they're in that plus 120 range. I think it's going to be a little bit of a feel-good story right now, with at least for the people in the Los Angeles area. I know so much going on with the wildfires out there. Chargers still aren't really Los Angeles' team. I think that, like I said, Matthew Stafford, he's won 4 out of his last 5 playoff games. This is the first playoff start for Sam Darnold, and I'm going to trust Sean McVay this spot. I think the Rams are going to get it done as the neutral site dog. I don't know, road, home, they're playing in Arizona, I'm aware, but I like the Rams to get it done, and I think it's going to go under the total.
You know, I'm an over better, but I agree with everything you're saying. Also, the Rams aren't like some explosive offense either. McVay likes to run the ball, and they like the quick hit passing attack, but he's a lot more conservative than people think he is. He's dialed things back over the years. And I got to believe, too, if you're the Vikings, after seeing Sam Darnold last week against Detroit, that you'd be a little bit hesitant to want to air it out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they're never going to throw the football, but, you know, they don't want to have Darnold throwing the football all the time because that's when trouble is going to happen. So, they're going to want to establish the run or at least dink and dunk type stuff and not have Darnold throw an early interception and lose his confidence. So, and at this rate, I mean, how the hell can even I don't want to bet an over. And I'm not that bright, and I always bet overs. And even I'm like, yeah, I can see it being a low-scoring game tomorrow. The Texans and Chiefs. The Texans are getting 8 right now, Dave. It was 7.5 earlier in the day. I see an 8 right now. And the total is 42 there. And then in the ultimate game of the year here, man, the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills, heavyweight showdown. And the field goal is good. 52-yard field goal. So there's been 2 long field goals. Yeah, well, we already hit it earlier. There was a 50-yard field goal earlier in the game. So they had a long field goal. They haven't been hitting. This is the first playoff game that it actually hit it, believe it or not. But I haven't been playing them in every game. But, the Ravens and Bills, Dave, what's your take on that? What do you think about the Texans, Chiefs, and Bills and Ravens?
I do think that the first initial reactions haven't bet anything yet, but I do think that the Chiefs are going to get the cover in this one. They really started playing well towards the end of the season. I know that the Texans surprised a lot of people with that win. I think that they'll hang around for a while. As far as the total, I don't know if I so much love the total in this one. I don't really want to play the over, but I wouldn't play the under. That number of 42.5, I could see this being like a 27-17 type game, something like yesterday where it just gets to that 44 points. But I do think the Chiefs are going to get it done. And that Bills-Ravens game, that one could go really either way. But, at the home field, I'm leaning on the Bills. My initial reaction on that, I was impressed. I thought that the Bills would handle, out of all these playoff games, I thought that the one that was most likely to be a blowout was the Bills and the Broncos. I didn't have any doubts about that one. And it's hard for me to battle of potential MVPs. I know Lamar Jackson, he's having a great season. I don't necessarily think it's going to be his fault, but I still don't trust. I know they got better, but I don't trust the Ravens defense as much as the Bills. And I know we're nitpicking. It's a half a point spread between 2 great teams. You don't really want to bash one, but one of them's got to win. And I think it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if I want to touch the over in that. I don't know if I want to touch the total. I don't want to bet an under in that game, but with so much on the line, 51.5, that's a high number. So I think my favorite play right now would be to just take the Bills straight up to win.
And we should know, too, I'm looking ahead to the weather, and it's already a story right now, guys, as snow showers expected. USA Today, there's a bunch of sites even talking about bad weather in Buffalo next week, which doesn't mean that there's still going to be points put up on the board because you have a wet field. Good luck trying to tackle Lamar Jackson, right? Same thing with Josh Allen. Slippery fields can lead to points, but something to keep our eye on, guys. The temperatures, too, 24 degrees. This is the projected temperature, 24 degrees and snow showers. And this, this is going to be the late game. And it's going to be next Sunday night because they're not going to make the teams that are playing tomorrow night play. Like the loser, the Lions get the loser tomorrow, right? So tomorrow's loser. So, or winner, the loser, etc. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. The winner of tomorrow's game will play the Detroit Lions after. And they're not going to make the team play on Monday night in Arizona and then go to Detroit on a Saturday. Be interested to see how they play it out, actually. So the Bills should be Saturday night.
two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books up, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. The wildest Sunday in football is here. Start your day at 8 a.m. with Fantasy Sports Today. Then at 10 a.m., Pro Football Today breaks down every angle before the triple header kicks off. Stay with In-Game Live as we chase those parlays, props, and live bets across all three wild card showdowns. Don't miss a minute. Only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. I am Gabe Morency, so we were hoping, trying to get some points home here. And, of course, every Sunday whenever Kurtz comes on, we're always like, oh, we need more points. We need more points. And here we go again. But Delano called it earlier, said maybe we can get to 20 here. And then you said you wanted at least 17-17 going into the fourth, and you take a shot. You know what I mean? Maybe in that range. I'm open a little quicker, but it'd be nice if they could finish this off. I mean, they don't have a lot of time left here right now, but how much time is left? 15 seconds type of deal, 17 seconds. So they don't have a lot of time. They're on the 12-yard line. We'll see if they can finish this off. They are in field goal range, but it should be an interesting second half, and I think it should open up a bit. The in-game total right now is 43.5 for the record. And the Detroit Lions await, Dave. So the NFL was talking about changing the seating. It's been a lot, a hot topic of conversation with the college football playoffs, right? About teams getting a bye because they won their conference, even though, they weren't as good as other teams, whatnot. And I've always thought it's dumb in the NFL, too. The NBA does it with you won your division, so you're the top four or whatever, that crap. And we see this now and the disadvantages that it plays to. Because, look, if you're the Detroit Lions, Dave, you fought hard. You had an awesome year. You lose 2 games all year. You're 15-2, and you're going to have to play the Rams most likely after. And if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, everything's falling into place for you. You're going to get the Bucks. Now, unless the Commanders win this game. If the Commanders win, then that'll throw everything for a loop. If the Commanders win this game tonight, guys, then it's Washington at Detroit, which would actually be a fun game, Dave. Washington at Detroit. And then suddenly the Eagles would get the Vikings and the Rams. I think Sam Darnold would choke. I'm expecting him to choke tomorrow. I don't think they're going to win tomorrow, but I don't have any confidence in Sam Darnold winning on the road in Philadelphia. But I think the Rams could be a dangerous team if that played out, Dave. If the Commanders won this game and it ended up being the Rams and Eagles, what do you think about that matchup?
I still wouldn't go against the Eagles the way that they're playing right now. Also playing in Philadelphia, I believe that would be. So I would still like the Eagles in that matchup against the Rams. I think outside of the Lions right now, I don't really want to go against the Eagles, against anybody in the NFC. So I would like them in that matchup. And I don't think that it's, I guess either way, people are going to make something out of the way that the playoffs are structured and everything. I still would rather be in the position that Detroit's in with home field advantage in that first round bye. It hasn't hurt, everyone. I was wondering, even with baseball, not to shift to baseball, but if the Dodgers wouldn't have won this season, if it would have been the Padres, just that one game, if they would have beat them, we would have saw a lot of people talking about that as far as that first round bye. So it's always
baseball.
Something.
No, you're right. We're always going to complain about something. I'm not going to dispute that. But baseball is the same thing. Don't get me started. You having the best record, you get screwed over. Baseball has a stupid bracket, right? I know this is a Dodger fan because we always get a tougher matchup than we should. There's the touchdown. So we get the sounder. Here we go. There was a pass interference call in the end zone to Mike Evans. They got the ball on the 1-yard line, and then they threw the ball to Mike Evans. I was like, oh, wow, because I got the Evans touchdown score prop, Dave, and I'm thinking, where's the sounder? Let's go. Man, we're struggling tonight. we're like the LA Chargers. It's a playoff game. We've got some problems. Here we go. There we go. Thank you. There we go. Touchdown, Mike Evans. Yeah, I was going to say, Dave, as we were talking, so they scored. There was a pass interference in the end zone, and they're on the 1. You figure they would have ran it in, but, they did have one timeout, but they passed the ball from the 1-yard line, a quick bullet slant to Mike Evans. Touchdown. In-game total, Dave, now 43.5.
Yeah, it really hasn't. It didn't change too much from that touchdown. It looked like it was right in that range.
They were expecting it.
They were expecting it. And I think with this game, just with the firepower on both sides, I don't think they wanted to drop the total too much lower.
Oh, it just went to 46.5. It just popped up. 46.5.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So not too far away from where this started at. I know it was about, I know right before the game it went up to 51.5. So over bettors out there probably anywhere between 49.5 and 51.5. But I'll be optimistic again. We're going to get there.
Yeah. Keep faith alive. Dave Delano, get Sports Strong on X. HitThePick.com. Check out the website. Dave, always a pleasure, my man. Tom Vecchio, the halftime report.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books up, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
What's going on, and welcome to Pro Football Today. Halftime show. My name is Tom Vecchio. Wild Card Weekend is here. Sunday Night Football is here. The Bucs are at home hosting the Commanders, and we have ourselves a tie game. The live line is currently the Bucs minus 2.5. Obviously, very slightly different compared to the 3 they were as the game closed, and is a 45.5 over/under right now, a tad bit lower compared to the 51.5, 51, depending on where you got it, line that it closed at. I will say it is juiced to the under, minus 132 to the under. Of course, the Bucs tying the game up late right there with the touchdown to Mike Evans, and we have had a good game so far. Obviously, a lot of people disappointed with the lack of scoring, as we've seen from some of these offenses today, namely the Packers, namely the Broncos earlier today. But we are in for a good second half, so let's go through some of these lines and what the players have done. Both Baker and Daniels have exactly 108 passing yards, both in the first half. The passing yards are nearly identical, as you'd assume, for their second half. The live lines, Baker up at 231, Daniels is at 230. It is important to note that the Commanders, they will be getting the ball out to start the second half. That is that we have seen a lack of running on the ground, at least from Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. Jaden Daniels leads the way with 30 yards. The same thing can be said on the other side with Baker after that long run that jump-started that drive. He leads the Bucs with 21 yards. Buck Irving, 6 for 18. And also, the receiving, a lot going to Terry McLaurin, a lot going to Mike Evans, 62 yards for Terry, 66 yards for Mike Evans. And then after that, just a handful of players here or there, a little bit of Brian Robinson, De'Ami Brown, Ertz, McMillan, White, Otten. We have basically identical teams of the production that we've seen and how they have scored. It's just a little bit on the ground from the running backs and mostly through the air to their primary receivers. So when it comes to the live rushing markets, really don't have interest in any of these. You can make the case for a Baker, over 30.5. He's sitting at 21. You could obviously make the case for Daniels at over 58.5. He's sitting at 30. But the receiving market is far more interesting because we don't want to be taking props for Buck Irving or Brian Robinson who have not gotten anything going on the ground. The receiving market is far, far more interesting. Outside of Mike Evans, whose number is now jumped up to 100. It did open up at 98.5 as we were coming directly out of halftime or directly into halftime before the show started. 98, it's now up to 100. The same thing can be said about Terry McLaurin, who's at 62. His live line is sitting at 91. Where else can we find value? Where else will they be looking? Because McMillan is at 35.5. Zach Ertz is only at 20. Zaccheaus is at 22. Bucky Irving is still only at 9.5. Will one of these other players step up and play a role in the passing game outside of the top two targets? Will we see Cade Otton, who has the one catch? Will we see Zach Ertz, who has the one catch? Will they step up in the second half? Because if the teams are not getting the ball going on the ground, I think the receiving market would be the spot to look. Pre-game, or not pregame, not necessarily pregame, but at 7:30, I was on In-Game Live with Scott, Joe, and Adam. And I spoke about Zach Ertz. I liked him over 38.5 receiving yards. He has 9 so far in the first half. His live line is sitting at 27.5. Matchup-wise, this is a good spot. Throughout the regular season, the Bucs, they allowed 1,144 receiving yards specifically to opposing tight ends. That was the second worst in the league. So matchup-wise, it is good for Zach Ertz. He obviously comes in with a strong 15.5% target share throughout the regular season. It was number 2 on the team behind Terry McLaurin. So Zach Ertz is still my guy of who Daniels should be looking to. Outside of that, I have a tough time getting to Brian Robinson or De'Ami Brown. Zaccheaus is interesting because we know that he has played a solid role really to close out the season for the Commanders. And if he's sitting at 6 yards now, so it's not like he's been massively involved in the offense, but he's only 22.5 And we look back at some of his game log, especially to close out the season. He had a good target share overall, but more importantly, some of these long throws were coming, or long throws to him, long catches were coming through for Zaccheaus with 29, 16, 49, 14 yards in these games to close out the season. So when he's sitting at 6 yards now, and he can break off a 20-yard reception, he can get over 22.5. So I'm interested in Zaccheaus at 22.5, at least that's what it is on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's just check what it is elsewhere, because obviously live markets are always tough to find the best ones if you're shopping back and forth, and they are obviously changing as things go on. So let's see what Zaccheaus is. So his low, at least on DK, is at 25, which you absolutely do not want to take. 22.5 minus 120. You get 22.5 minus 114 on FanDuel. That's the spot that I would look. It's minus 113 now. That's where I'd be going. Terry McLaurin's number has jumped up from 90, 91. It's up at 92.5. When push comes to shove, obviously the Commanders should be looking to get the ball to Terry McLaurin. So if you don't have any props in this game, maybe you're on the over on this game, as I know a lot of people were. They're expecting points in this game. The 51.5 over indicated that we should be seeing some scoring. Obviously, the lack of defense that we saw from these teams to close out the regular season, you would think we'd be getting these points. Terry McLaurin's probably just the easiest answer to go to for the Commanders if you don't have anything else involved in this game, or you have very little involved in this game. The path to them getting points is obviously with McLaurin, and that big play that we saw in the first half, which was a fantastic catch by him. Like, that's the role we want to see him play, breaking off these 20, 25-yard catches, which can certainly put him at that number very, very quickly. So I would look to Terry McLaurin there. Mike Evans, 100 yards, I think it's a bit much. Granted, he's been much better compared to Lattimore, at least throughout the first half. We know Lattimore is dealing with his hamstring injury, but seeing 100-plus yards from Mike Evans, I think, would be a bit much. And at the end of the day, if they're having 100-plus yards, either A, they get out and score a lot, which means they're probably covering the spread. So I would say if you have the Commanders ticket already at -3, if Mike Evans is pushing over 100 yards, they're probably out and scoring, so that ticket's probably safe. So it's like, do you want to double down on that? Or the Commanders get out and score on that first drive to start the third quarter, and then the Bucs are in a passing game script, so Mike Evans needs to have a whole lot of yards in the second half if they're playing catch-up. So depends on what you have, depends on what positions you have already, depends on what you're envisioning for the game script. I'm expecting a modest amount of scoring. The 45.5 over-under that is live right now would indicate that. Solid 20 points in the first half, which may not seem like a lot, but considering the lack of scoring that we've seen from some of these teams, at least throughout today, in the early, the 10-10 is somewhat encouraging. Now, let's just take a look at what the second half total and second half spreads are for this. I'm assuming it's going to be less than 20 points second half total. Second half total is sitting at 24.5, and it's -120, and the Bucs second half is sitting at -2.5. I would have interest in the Commanders at +2.5, specifically for the second half. You could obviously just take them on the game as well if they're going to outright win, which they could certainly do. So second half total, 24.5. It seems like a little bit much. We're pushing, over 3 touchdowns plus 2 field goals or 4 touchdowns. That might be a little bit too much for me. So -120, obviously on the under. I don't mind that, but I would say obviously shop for the best lines available. You can find the -110. That's what you certainly want to be looking at. Like I said, the rushing props, it's going to be Daniels or Mayfield. They can both get there, especially with the scrambling that Mayfield may be having to do if they're playing from behind. Daniels obviously designed. We know we obviously can get there. The receiving, it's super clear with Mike Evans, who's now up to 101. Terry McLaurin now up to 93. And then if you just want to play the safest route, just go straight passing for these two quarterbacks, 233 for Baker and 232.5 for Jaden Daniels. That would be the spot to go if you want to double down on any receivers. Like I have with Zach Ertz. Again, I have him over 38.5 yards. He's only sitting at 9. I don't want to buy back in at 26, et cetera, et cetera. So we are in for a good second half. I know we've had some games that are a little bit lower scoring today. This game is certainly trending in that way, but I would expect this field goal difference to try to essentially hold throughout the rest of the game. I will be back post-game, and we will recap all of today's action. We'll have the lines already, of course, for next week's game. They're out. We can give a quick preview of Monday Night Football. We can take a look at Super Bowl, MVP odds, whatever it might be. Super, super interesting stuff. Stay tuned.
The wildest Sunday in football is here. Start your day at 8 a.m. with Fantasy Sports Today. Then at 10 a.m., Pro Football Today breaks down every angle before the triple header kicks off. Stay with In-Game Live as we chase those parlays, props, and live bets across all 3 wildcard showdowns. Don't miss a minute. Only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books are, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Statement from Giants president John Mara. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll will continue in their respective roles with the organization. As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented.
The Giants, an absolute train wreck, and I love it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't like to toot my own horn, and I know that I'm setting myself up for probably disappointment later tonight, but I hope you were with us last week on the Final Five, because we almost swept the board. We had 2 out of 3 on the power play points with Reinhardt and Matthews. We hit the goal scorer line A. We hit the side with Washington. We hit the total with the over in Toronto and Buffalo. So we had a really good Final Five last week, and I'm hoping that we can now ride that wave.
Only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. I am Gabe Morency. The wild card weekend continues, and normally I'd say wild card weekend winding down. There used to not be. How many years have we been doing this Monday Night Football in the playoffs for? Not long, huh? What, 2, 3 type thing? Has it been like too long? It's kind of strange to make teams play on Monday night in the playoffs, but whatever. It's another game on TV. And, of course, it's the Vikings and the Rams tomorrow night, and we'll be on live on SiriusXM Channel 159 and on SportsGrid On Demand on YouTube at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night for the Vikings and Rams. So we've had some difficulties with our guest tonight, but we've been informed that it's a regional issue. And by chance, so basically, we're going to blame the state of Texas, the great state of Texas, on this. Why not? They screwed us the other night. But it's an issue with some stuff going on in Texas. And by chance, Delano and Higgs actually both live in Texas near each other, right? So, it wasn't like, it's not really on us, it's not really on Higgs, not really on anyone. There's a situation right now. With some companies in Texas. So we're going to monitor the situation like the NFL does. We're monitoring the situation. George Kurtz shouldn't have any problems joining us. He'll join us in a couple of minutes if Higgs can't step up and in, as we're working and they're working on the situation. All right, so the second half has begun. We've got a 10-10 football game. The Washington Commanders get the ball to start the second half. So the Commanders get the ball to start the second half. For the record, I just posted it in our chat here live on X, and shout out to everybody joining us in the chat this evening in the second half. And I've been pretty good, like with these, normally I jump in on the quarterbacks, right? But no one's beating anybody, like the yardage. You know what's crazy? They both threw for 108 yards exactly in the first half. But long story short, we took Mike Evans over 7.5 receptions. So you can still get in on this. You can still get in on McLaurin, too. He hasn't caught anything yet. We took McLaurin over 6.5 receptions at the half. And we took over 44.5 in-game because we can't resist. How are we going to resist? So we took over 44.5. We just got to get to 45. to win that bet. So we took over 44.5, but we took Mike Evans over 7.5 receptions, and Evans has 5 right now. So we need 3 catches from Evans, and same thing with McLaurin. I need 3 catches. I took over 6.5 from McLaurin, so he's at 4 right now. So we need 3 catches from Evans. We're seeing no one else is really getting open on Tampa. If you look at Tampa, Baker really hasn't completed that many passes. Baker's 9 of 12 for 108 yards. Jaden Daniels was is now 12 of 17 for 116. They both had 108 yards passing at the half exactly. Washington spreading it around a little bit more. Zacchaeus has 2 catches. Robinson's got 3 catches. McLaurin's got 4 catches. Meanwhile, when you look at Tampa, it's very, very one-dimensional. Mike Evans has 5 catches. McMillan has a catch. Rashawn White has a catch. Auden has a catch. And Irving has 1 catch. Like, a lot of little dink and dunks. You got 12, 13-yard pickups, but you see where I'm going with this. Nobody has more than 1 catch besides Mike Evans. And they're going to have to move the ball at some point here. Look, Washington are moving the ball on him right now. So I think that Mike Evans is going to catch another 3 balls. He might get 3 balls on the next drive when they touch the ball. And McLaurin, similar situation. I believe he'll have 3 more catches. And then we took the over 44.5 in game. For the record, it's just jumped all the way up to 48.5 right now. So the total is moving up. Here's a little dump off that turned into a big play for the Commanders, and in fact, a super big play, and that's to Brown again. Man, Brown is having a big impact on this football game. Little dump off bubble screen to Brown. He brings it all the way to the 2-yard line. They're knocking on the door. And now this is when your Brian Robinson Jr. touchdown score props could come into play here. And or they could throw the football, but I imagine they're going to run the ball. They do run the ball, but it gets blown up. Robinson gets stuffed, and actually I think he lost a yard, or he didn't gain anything. He got back to the line of scrimmage. So they're going to have a 2nd and goal. They're probably going to pass now. If they're going to score, I wouldn't mind a McLaurin touchdown, but we did jump in on the over. And I wouldn't mind this game turning into a track meet. Right? I mean, it hasn't been the most entertaining weekend, but similar to the opening weekend of college football, right? You're going to have some sort of one-sided matchups, but this is an evenly matched football game. This is a good game. Man. So they ran the ball on 1st down. They're on like the 3-yard line. So they ran the ball on 1st down. I think they were closer to the 2 before, but it kind of lost like half a yard or whatever. So it seems like it's spotted closer to the 3. But anyways, they run the ball, they get stuffed. Then 2nd down, they throw the ball, and there's nothing there. It's amazing, like, even with Jaden Daniels, and, it's amazing how hard it is. You got to give credit to the defenses, too. We tell people this all the time. Like, it's really difficult to score in tight spaces. You've got to be a really good precision passer. Your passing attack has to have great timing to throw in this area. And on 3rd and goal, they just threw the ball again, and it was incomplete. They just basically wasted a 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. Like, it's amazing. These teams in short yardage situation. Like, I don't mind. All right, you got stuffed on 1st down. It doesn't mean you need to abandon it after. And especially you have Jaden Daniels. This is Cliff. Listen, this is Cliff Kingsbury, right? And they're settling for a field goal. This is on Cliff Kingsbury, and you see this, man, with the sort of the Kingsbury types, right? The modern sort of college type, the modern offensive type of offensive play callers. They have serious problems, man, when they get into tight spaces, because all of their offense is built on space, right? Space, spread it out, It's like a 3-point shooting team, right? If you spread things out, that's why all these college teams do it, because you don't have as much talent. So you spread it out, and you can get. You can pick up 1st downs because there's so much space on the field. But suddenly, you put everybody in a condensed spot, they're not going to be able to do anything.
two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books are, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. The wildest Sunday in football is here. Start your day at 8 a.m. with Fantasy Sports Today. Then at 10 a.m., Pro Football Today breaks down every angle before the triple header kicks off. Stay with In-Game Live as we chase those parlays, props, and live bets across all three wild card showdowns. Don't miss a minute. Only on SportsGrid.
I am Gabe Morency. In-game live game day continues. Sean Higgs now joins us. Not live, but in our chat. Hey, what's up, Sean? Sorry, our apologies, Sean. It's a Texas thing. So basically guests join us via, an online system. And the online system right now, and not just our network, a lot of networks use the same program. And so basically around the country, there's been problems, and specifically in Texas, I guess there's problems, we've been told. And Sean Higgs and Delano both happen to be in Texas, and they both happen to be in the same area. And Delano, I don't know, I'm not throwing my boy Higgs under the bus, but I'm going to assume Delano's a little bit better technically than Higgs is. Higgs doesn't strike me as the most technical dude. And it took Delano had a real hard time and didn't give up. So basically, I knew that Higgs was doomed. Although not your fault, Sean. But I was like, oh, yeah, we're doomed then. Like, yeah, I mean, it's a problem. I'm just hoping that Kurtz, speaking of not very technical, I'm amazed Kurtz, Kurtz is able to turn his microphone on. But all kidding aside, hopefully we don't have a problem with Kurtz. Kurtz is in New York, so we shouldn't. No one in New York is having a problem. And they tested it in New Jersey and New York. I'm not having a problem. Well, I got problems, but this ain't one of them. I got 99 problems, but this ain't one of them. Higgs says he's still trying. Now, give up, Higgs. It's not your fault. Give it up, Higgs. We'll catch up with you later in the week, bro. Enjoy the game. Don't stress out. I know it's frustrating and stuff trying to get in, but it's like I said, it's not your fault, so you don't have to be frustrated. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's out of our control right now. So we jumped in, and Higgs, so for the record, and what's up to our boy Johnny Kicknuts in Los Angeles? Stay safe, Johnny. For the record, Higgs also likes my Mike Evans prop that we jumped in on. He's still at 5 right now, so he hasn't caught anything. McLaurin didn't catch anything on that drive that produced 3 points for the Washington Commanders. The Buccaneers are at midfield right now, and the new in-game total is what we bet at the half. It is what it was at the half, 44.5. It was bouncing around. It went up to 45.5, 46.5, but I'm talking for like 30 seconds and it moved down. It sort of settled in at 44.5 right now. Buccaneers trying to get their ground game going. They got a third down coming up here right now at midfield. 13-10 football game. And as I stated, the Buccaneers are 1.5 point favorites. We got a 3rd and 4 coming up. We said this Tampa offense, they had the drive at the end of the half. They got the touchdown after the pass interference penalty in the end zone. But as I stated, their offense really hasn't been clicking over the last couple of weeks. And we looked and thought of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, there's a nice play. And there's our boy Evans. Man, Evans is good. Like I said, he's the only one that's really getting open, and he was barely open. That was a hell of a pass from Baker Mayfield. One of those, like, right over the middle of the field, slant plays. Evans had Lattimore on him, and I think there was a safety there by the time the ball got there. No, it's just Lattimore. So, yeah, Evans just beat Lattimore, and but I got to tell you, like, a lot of quarterbacks would have screwed that up and not got the pass there. Hell of a pass from Baker Mayfield. So there's a catch for Mike Evans. Speak of the devil. Let's get 2 more, Mike. I would like to get this on this drive. Let's finish it off. A couple of more passes to Evans here and get that win in our back pocket. Oh, we got a big run instead. And we do have that Bucky Irving anytime touchdown scorer prop. And Bucky Irving just popped a big one. He just popped one for about 17 or 20 yards on the ground on a little pitch. And suddenly the Buccaneers pop up to minus 3.5 point favorites. The total is now 46.5 as the Bucs are knocking on the door. Bucs knocking on the door. Nice run from Irving. They're on about the 13, 14-yard line right now. As the game potentially could start to open up here. Oh, now there's a flag on the play. What's the flag? All right, the play stands. All right, I was like, really? This is a really late flag, but it was on the next play. So the play, they got the first down, but then, I don't understand how this stuff happens in the playoffs. I said this earlier. Like, how do you have too many men on the field? So basically, they got the first down, but then after the play, before they could snap the next play, they had too many men on the field. And they got nailed for it. 5-yard penalty. They just got another big run from Irving. Irving is like shot out of a cannon right now in the last couple of runs. All right, so Washington screwed this up, knocking on the door. They're inside the 5 now. Irving, for you prop players, is up to 58 rush yards. And for the record, if you remember before the game started, we gave it that McLaurin odds boost. Did 1 already.
Guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books up, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. The wildest Sunday in football is here. Start your day at 8 a.m. with Fantasy Sports Today. Then at 10 a.m., Pro Football Today breaks down every angle before the triple header kicks off. Stay within game.
In-game live game day continues, and it's a real adventure right now. That's what else continues, the adventure for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's amazing. We were just talking about this with the Washington Commanders when they were inside the 5. It's an all-out adventure. Like, you know what I mean? You know, I don't know why they're running defensive linemen. What are you guys getting cute for now? Like, seriously, it's unbelievable. They had Villa out there on offense. They tried to throw a pass to Villa. Really? That's what you guys are doing right now? You're losing in a playoff game with 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and you're trying to get cute, throwing passes to defensive linemen? Really? All right, there it is. They get the touchdown anyways. Touchdown and Baker Mayfield. That's the second touchdown. And even better, it's to Irving. Touchdown, Tampa. Arr. Buccaneers. The Buccaneers. And there's the Bucky Irving anytime touchdown scorer prop. Hits as well. Nice. Did he just sort of like slap a cop in the end zone? Like, or was that the fan or was it the wall? What did he just hit? I'm going to see the replay of that. Like, there's something in the end zone. He sort of like got all fired up. Yeah. And he like, there's no way he just pushed a cop. They said there was a cop there and there was like a kind of like, who did he do that? Please show the replay all the way through here. Let's see. God, they cut it off before he got to the end, the wall. Maybe he hit the wall. I don't know. I saw him do something. I was like, what did he just do? And the extra point is good. So we got ourselves a 17-13 football game. And remember, we put that same game parlay together. It wasn't great odds, but because it was all favorites pretty much. But remember, we took Baker Mayfield over 1.5 touchdown passes. So there's 2 for Baker. Tampa Bay to win the football game. And over 40.5 in the football game. It was only plus 125 though. Remember, I said, hey, I'm doing this because they have a thing where they give you half the money back. It's a small thing, but anytime the sports book's going to give you something, I'll take advantage of it. But if you bet $50 on a same game parlay, and it loses, they'll give you back $25 in free bets after. So it's kind of you're getting a $25 free roll in a way. Like I said, I'm not a massive same game parlay guy, but I don't mind putting a few of them together for these bigger games like this. So in-game total is up to 47.5 right now, and the Buccaneers are minus 3.5 still. We'll see what the Washington Commanders do on this drive as the clock is ticked pretty quickly. There's 4:31 left in the football game right now. For you prop players out there, Baker Mayfield has been super effective. There hasn't been a lot of volume here, but it's been effective. He's 12 of 15 throwing the football. Only 3 incomplete passes tonight, but only 131 yards. That's nice on the 12 completions, 8.7 average. But 12 of 15 for 131 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Bucky Irving is having himself a day here. Irving, 12 carries, 61 yards right now. And Baker Mayfield, 4 carries, 21 yards. White, 1 carry for 1 yard. Mike Evans is up to 84 yards receiving. He's got 6 receptions right now. We bet in-game over 7.5. We need 2 more from Mike Evans. McMillan nearly just got a touchdown pass on this last drive. They threw it to him in the end zone, but he was out of bounds. And he caught it, but he was out of bounds, and there was a penalty on the play. But that's what put him on the goal line. But he nearly got that touchdown that we were talking about at plus 160. Rashad White, 2 catches for 14 yards. Cade Otton, always a popular pick. Cade Otton, 1 catch for 12 yards only. And Bucky Irving, two receptions for 6 yards. As far as Washington is concerned, Brown is having a big day today. 3 catches, 64 yards. He's got the touchdown, and he scored the first touchdown of the game tonight. So he scored the first touchdown of the game. McLaurin's got 4 catches for 62. He had 4 at the half, so he's been silent so far in the second half. Robinson Jr.'s got 3 catches for 17 yards. Zacchaeus has got 2 catches for 14 yards. Zach Ertz, 1 catch for 9. And Eckler, haven't seen a lot of Austin Eckler tonight. Austin Eckler, 1 catch for 4 yards. Commanders get the football back right now. And as we stated, in-game total is currently 47.5. And often times this year on Sunday night, we needed points when George Kurtz joins us. And George, I'm in the same boat right now. I need more points. Things are starting to open up a little bit. I don't know if it's still going to get to 52, but teaser players, in-game players will have a puncher's chance here. Although Washington are moving the ball, there's a there's a pass interference coming up. Yeah, this ref calls everything.
Complain about it anymore. But the Bucky Irving touchdown was big for me. I had him for an anytime touchdown here. Love to see Daniels get in as well here. That'd be my last anytime of this game. So this game has certainly been better for me than the afternoon was. So it is what it is. But I thought we'd have maybe 7 to 10 more points by now.
You know what, though? All these games have played to the under. They have. You know, the one game that went over, George, is the one that nobody wanted to take the over in, the Chargers and the Texans.
Go figure.
And I went contrarian, and I bet the over of the game, and I thought I was smart, and I was like, you know what? I think the next one's going to go over as well, the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game, and it came freaking close. It got to 42, but not close enough.
This whole thing's been this whole weekend's been weird, right? And they had plenty of chances to get past the 42. All right, then Baltimore seemed to shut it down at some point, just want to play next week. And you go to the Philadelphia game. Barkley, what the hell are you going down for? You're up by 12 points, buddy. Run it in. All right, who didn't have a Barkley anytime touchdown today? I know I did. You know, so that was you talk about bouncing off the walls. I understand, listen, if it's a 1-point game, you don't, all right, you go down here. It was 12 points, Gabe. It'll be a 19-point lead. It doesn't make a difference. All right, go. Score your 60-yard touchdown. All right, so that was just it's been a frustrating sort of weekend.
You're right. It's frustrating weekend. Scored a touchdown. But this is why, and I warned people about this. Next week it'll be a little bit different. You know, you're gonna have better teams playing. And I think it'll sort of get back on course a bit, but it's the same thing, George. I said this at the top of the show. The last 2-3 weeks of the regular season in the NFL this year, especially now, used to just sort of be like the last week is a write-off, right? And whatever, the backups, whatever, it's a weird week. Now with 17 games, a lot of times like teams have things clinched. Like the last couple of weeks get weird. And then backups start to score touchdowns. Guys that haven't played as much will start to score. And then you get into the playoffs and other teams take away the other team's stars. They take away, you know what, this is what you guys do 70% of the time. We're going to force you not to do this to see if you could beat us doing something else. And then you get these random guys like Brown scoring the first touchdown of the game. George, the guy's got one touch. He's got one touchdown all year, bro. He just scored the first touchdown of the game in a playoff game. Nobody had him. Nobody bet on him. The sportsbooks cash in with all the Mike Evans first touchdown props, all the Brian Robinson Jr. first touchdown props, the Bucky Irving first touchdown props. Hell, Josh Allen today didn't score a freaking touchdown. Right? How many people had that in same-game parlays? And that's all because Mac Hollins, George, they threw the ball.
Yeah.
Hollins caught the ball at the 2-yard line and for whatever reason act like a jackass. Guy didn't play all day. He makes one play, acts like a jackass, and instead they don't score the touchdown after. That would have been the touchdown for Allen. Sportsbooks laughing. Saquon Barkley doesn't score the touchdown. I could go on, man. The star players often don't score touchdowns in these games. It's a miracle Mike Evans did.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been – and we haven't gotten the overs, too. That's also hurt, right? Because that's why we don't have more points and more chance for the star players to score here. The Josh Allen one, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me, by the way. So that was frustrating as well because I thought the same thing as you. That he's going to get in here. Beautiful. So it's just been it hasn't been an awful day. I'm not like I'm getting crushed here. It's just things could be so much better.
So the lesson is learned. Tomorrow night, you got to take the most random person to score the first touchdown.
Tutu Atwell.
You know what? Yeah, Tutu Atwell. I'm going to say the first touchdown score of the game tomorrow. They'll pick off Sam Darnold. Defense, special teams.
Oh, I hope not.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books are, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. The wildest Sunday in football is here. Start your day at 8 a.m. with Fantasy Sports Today. Then at 10 a.m., Pro Football Today breaks down every angle before the triple header kicks off. Stay with In-Game Live as we chase those parlays, props, and live bets across all three wild card showdowns. Don't miss a minute. Only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. Wild card edition. I am Gabe Morency, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. 17-13 Bucks. This has been the most competitive game actually of the weekend. I think a lot of us sort of expected it kind of to be. You know what? I thought the Packers would be more competitive. They kind of were, but all the injuries and everything, it was a weird game. I was going to say, how the hell did they complete that? But they did not complete that, going over the middle of the field to Zach Ertz. So the Buccaneers drive. What are they doing here? It's 4th and 5. There's no way you punt from here, George. So are they going to roll out the field goal kicker? Their kicker's been good. He's drilled like there's been a 50 and a 52-yarder. Where's about a 56, 57-yarder?
Yeah, this is 56.
No, they're leaving them on the field. They're going for it. All right, because you can't punt. You're not going to punt from.
Are they going to try and draw them
38.
off? It's 4th and 5. Are they going to play the game
4th and 5
here?
here? I say they snap the ball. You can't punt, Kurtz, from here. They're going for it.
If you hit the field goal, you go for it.
Yeah, and they get it. They go right back to Zach Ertz. I forgot about him, son of a bitch. I know. He hasn't done anything. I need to stop throwing the ball to Ertz. We just got screwed on a play a couple of plays ago, guys, when we were on the break. McLaurin, he got a catch, but then they threw it to him again, and he picked up another big chunk, but there was a freaking penalty on the play. So he should be at 6 catches right now, but instead I got over 6.5 in-game, Kurtz. He should be at 6. We're stuck at 5. I'd like to see a pass to McLaurin here.
I'm on McLaurin in every direction here as far as receptions, yardage, and an anytime touchdown. The anytime touchdown might be a little lucky here, but I'm pretty confident we're going to get the other 2. Obviously, we have to get the yardage if we get the other 2. So he's not going to catch between the next quarter. He's not going to catch 2 balls here. Have a hard time believing that. He is another penalty. He is Daniel's best friend forever.
Yeah, let's hope he gets another ball, a couple of balls. Same with Mike Evans. I got to believe that Mike still has another couple of catches left in him. Especially, we'll see what happens, man. This drive is big, right? I mean, sort of dictating either way. If they kick they're already in field goal range now for real. So now, if they kick a field goal, 17-16, Tampa won't be doing anything wild though after that. If they score the touchdown here, George puts a little bit of pressure on Tampa to move the ball down the field and score, right? So it'll open things up a little bit. Like, if they kick the field goal here, this game slows down because suddenly Tampa, they're both going to start panicking or playing it tight, right? It's a 1-point game in the playoffs.
I don't think Tampa, they've been here before, right? They already made the playoffs the last couple of years. I think they'd be okay. I don't think they'll play too tight here. I might worry about Washington playing a little tighter. and making mistakes, but they seem to be playing pretty
No, I'm not
loose.
worried about
They know they're
mistakes.
playing house money.
I'm talking about the play calling. I'm talking about Tampa's play calling, right? I'm just saying, if they're up 17-16 and down 20-17, I think it changes things. Not too much,
It
but
certainly changes things. And the game is not as wide open as we were hoping for, so maybe they'll play a little conservative.
You know this. It's like, I don't know how it is. I mean, I guess it's just perception, because time is time, right? But the clock ticks faster in the playoffs, George, somehow. You know what I'm saying? Like it just ticks. You don't really have as many possessions. Yeah, they run the ball. You'll notice nobody's in a rush to snap the ball. Like even when things are going well, man, they snap the ball with like 5 seconds left on it. Like nobody. You'll notice in a regular season, if an offense is clicking and they're not like concerned with the clock, like their rhythm, they'll snap the ball with like 13 seconds or something on the play clock. You know, like they're not. All right, we're to the line. Let's go. No need to wait. Now, George, in the playoffs, you notice they get to the line. Quarterback surveys everything. You know, they're talking in the headset. Should we change it? Should we do this? I think they overthink in the playoffs. You know, they start to overthink everything.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt they would think in the playoffs, right? Because they're worried about making mistakes, getting criticized. They want to make sure they don't miss any little detail, which, of course, you're going to miss things. But I think it's because they do run the ball more. And as you said, they do try and get that play clock to go down to the last couple of ticks here, hoping they can read the defense and get the big play here. But, yeah, I don't know any statistics here, any studies, but I would almost guarantee that we have less possessions and less plays in the playoffs, for the most part. Obviously not every game, than we do during the regular season.
Look at just off the top of my head. Look, how many long drives did the Eagles have today where they ate the ball up for, 7-8 minutes? Off the top of my head, I remember last night the Ravens, because Tomlin punted on 4th and inches, George, early in the game, remember? I get it. You don't want to go for it on your... You know, what? What he punted?
Oh, yeah, I mean, Harbaugh did it too. It's like, what are you doing? You have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson about the 50-yard line. What are we doing?
It wasn't even 4th and 2. George, the Ravens. Sorry, the Steelers. It was like 4th and half in the yard. It was like inches type deal. Harbaugh, you're right, same thing. And, you and I've sat here a lot during these games and said, oh, how the hell, why don't you take the, you know what I mean? Why would you not just kick the field goal? You don't always have to go for it early in the game. But in the playoffs, a little bit different, Kurtz. And Harbaugh, like you said, I think it sets the tone, George. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, we're wimping out really on 3rd and 1. We get stuffed, and we're going to wimp out on 4th and 1, like inside the 10. Come on, man. You know what I mean? It's like, let's just pick this up. And I've heard people too, and I heard a player talking about it. It was Nick Saban, actually. It was Nick Saban. So it wasn't a player, it was a coach. But in college and NFL, the same thing. And Saban said when you don't go for it, because someone didn't go for it, they punted, whatever, at the half. Saban said, when you don't go for it, your team notices and knows you don't have confidence in them to pick up half a yard. And he goes, then, it becomes a big negative. And, it gets in your players. And Saban's a genius coach. And even he knows, George, that, you know what I mean? If you're not going for it on 4th and 8, you're playing to lose, bro. And look what happened. So I get it. It's on the 30. So what? It's half a yard. You fall forward. All that happened is you gave the ball to Baltimore, and Lamar Jackson took 8 minutes and carved you up, and then they gave up the touchdown anyways.
Yeah. I'm not saying you got to be Dan Campbell and go for it 18 times a game here, but I don't think I'm punting the ball less than 4th and 6 in plus territory. I'm just not in today's game. It just doesn't work. It's too easy to get down the field here. You have to have plays that can work for you. Listen, there would be some games you're playing. It's a defensive struggle here. It's going to be okay. I can see playing the field position game. It's very windy one direction, but I generally like going for it.
So we had a pass interference call in the end zone. Now Washington are knocking on the door, but Washington ran like 6 or 7 or 8 plays before because there was penalties and whatever. They couldn't get it in. And now same thing. First down. For the love of God, I don't know why they don't run Jaden Daniels here. Like Kingsbury, what are you doing?
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books up, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. The wildest Sunday in football is here. Start your day at 8 a.m. with Fantasy Sports Today. Then at 10 a.m., Pro Football Today breaks down every angle before the triple header kicks off. Stay with In-Game Live as we chase those parlays, props, and live bets across all 3 wildcard showdowns. Don't miss a minute. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, as the world turns, I don't know what the hell Dan Quinn was just doing. I don't. We were just talking about, you go for it, what not to do. Like, that's when you take the 3. It's a 4-point game. So the Commanders, again, the Commanders got inside the 5-yard line and couldn't score. Like, they kept throwing the ball, running around, doing stupid stuff. They couldn't score. So they weren't coming close. I don't mind going for it, George, if it's like, yeah, you know what? We're on the goal line, you know what I mean? We were on the 6. We're getting closer every time we snap the ball here. Now this is the last push in. You weren't close to scoring, and you just got stuffed the last time before. So it's not like, it's like, oh, yeah, suddenly this is going to work. It's like, you know what? This isn't that bad, actually. There's 13 minutes left or whatever, and it's a 1-point game. I don't understand that decision at all from Quinn, bro. Like, they weren't on the goal line, George. They were on, like, close to the 5-yard line there, bro. Like, there was nowhere close to scoring.
As you said, they weren't close. The first down play was a rollout option. It wasn't even close, and nothing was there. Second down, Brian Robinson got stuffed for a 2-3-yard loss here. The third down pass was to nobody, and the fourth down pass, same thing. There are times where I would go for it. If they had started from the 10, they were gradually getting there, and they were at the 2, at the 1, especially if the team has to worry about the run or pass. But we all knew Jay Daniels got to throw this football. Makes it a little easier on the defense here, and you weren't close. As you said, you weren't close to scoring here. Take the points. This way only a field goal wins the game. Now a touchdown's going to win the game, or maybe tie the game unless Tampa gets a touchdown, gets a field goal here. So I would have taken the field goal in the first quarter as well here when they went for it twice and didn't get it. He's passed up 6 points now. I mean, they're down by 4. I know.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kurtz.
Oil gas
that's a good point.
No problem.
That's a good point. And not to mention, he got stuffed earlier in the game on the 4th and 2.
Yep.
So you've already been stuffed on the 4th and 2. The last drive, you had numerous cracks at it. You couldn't get it in. You took the 3, fine. Now you decide to go for it. But George, like I said, like you go, I can understand going for it, bro. If it's like, listen, there's 4 minutes left. We might not get the ball back. Like, you know what I mean? We need to score a touchdown. There's 14 minutes left, George. You make it a 1-point game. All you need is another field goal after. Like, for a coach that's been in a Super Bowl, I guess he's the coach that blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, right? Everybody blames Shanahan all the time for it, but I was going to say, he's not like a rookie coach. This guy's been around before. Like, it's almost like Kingsbury's the coach or something. Like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? And how about this, George? If the coach wants to go for it, and if you were the OC, I would say, you know what? I don't think so. I would say, dude, Jaden can't complete a pass in this tight space. Like, you figured Dan Quinn would realize this, George, that it's freaking hard for a quarterback to throw a touchdown pass from the 5-yard line. All right? It needs to be perfect timing. You need to throw a bullet. Like, you need to be good. Tom Brady was talking about it today. He said, you know, inside here, it's precision. Like, Jordan Love can't do it either. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, you see that Jaden Daniels is not close to completing these passes, George. Why ask him to do it on 4th down? I don't get it.
Oh, I have no answer for you. We both said during the before the play happened that we would kick the field goal here, and it's mainly for the reasons you mentioned. They weren't close to scoring; they had failed earlier. And odds are, I mean, I don't know for sure here, but odds are earlier when you failed, you were running your better plays, the plays you trusted more. Right? I don't know if he was saving your best plays for now, but they weren't close. I mean, sometimes I have to believe it's Dan Quinn's call whether to go for it or not. Right? It's not Kingsbury.
Yes,
it's Kingsbury's play call.
It's his decision.
But it's Kingsbury's play call, and Kingsbury has to tell you, listen. And Quinn has to know, hey, do you have a good play call? If Cliff says no, then you can't go for it. You know, and Cliff has to be honest about it. Maybe he said, yes, I got a good call here. I think we can do it. But watching the game here, it seemed to be an easier call not to. And remember, they can't run the ball, right? They couldn't run the ball at all. So defenses know what's happening here. They know what you're going to do. They know there's no chance in hell that Robinson, Eckler, or Rodriguez was going to, McNichols, or anybody was going to run the ball from the 4-yard line there. It might work out for them. It looks like, did they get a turnover or they just stop?
Oh, my God. I was just going to say, unless a miracle happens, Baker Mayfield fumbles the snap. Washington gets the ball back on the – but, okay, George, it's hypothetical now.
Here we go again, though.
Let's just say Tampa kicks the field goal, and that just happened right now on the next possession. And now suddenly they could kick a field goal and have the lead. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's why, like, I can't believe Tampa, Washington opened up the window for Tampa and said, all right, guys, just march the ball down the field. You're going to win the game. You're going to move on. And they get careless on the snap. Baker loses it, recovered by Washington. The question is, can Washington do anything with it? Now watch them settle for a field goal, too. That's what's going to happen. They're going to get stuck on 3rd down. Now they'll be like, yeah, we better take the 3. Yeah, no kidding, Coach. In-game total, 44.5 right now.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues, and we got some drama here. It's
point of that. I hate it when
George Kurtz.
On third or whatever, he throws the pass that's 3 yards short of the first down. What is the point of that? Why is he even running that pattern? We've seen this all weekend, by the way. Remember, there's been twice now we've seen receivers on like 4th and 2 run 1 yard patterns and don't get a first down. I mean, he fumbled really cool here.
You know what, though? Tampa said they caught it. Tampa thinks they caught it or it fumbled here or they stole the ball. And they kind of did when you see the replay here. This game is
His
weird,
knee's
man.
down already, though. His knee is way down early. It's down very early. I can't see the football when I see that the knee is down. We're going to need to see another replay.
Yeah.
Where's that ball? That knee is down.
No,
now,
the commander has it.
Yeah.
Eckler has it. Eckler has it. The deal is Eckler fell on top of him. Now they're going for it again. Here we go again.
My God, kick the field goal.
They're going for it again. They better get the touchdown. Otherwise.
4th time, by the way. 4th time they're doing this.
And they get the touchdown, and it's McLaurin with the touchdown.
Yes.
Touchdown, Washington.
Well, now I'm glad they went
There's
for
his
it.
touchdown. The crowd goes crazy.
Now I'm very happy they went for it. Now that pays off. That's a good thing now. I wouldn't have gone for it, mind you, but hey, I'll take the cash. Thank you.
Yeah, but at least, you know what? I would have kicked the field goal both times there. This time it's 4th and 2, though, was a little bit different because now the clock is ticking, and I understand it's almost like that was out of frustration. They're like, F this, we're effing going for it. And you almost have to do it, George, in a sense, if you've done it all the time. You know what I mean? It's like playing blackjack. You know what I mean? If you've done the same thing, suddenly it's if you're a gambler, you're going to go for it. I remember years ago, the Oregon Ducks once lost a game, like 35-31 or something. They went for 2 every time, George. They scored like 7 touchdowns or something, and they went for 2 every time, and they didn't get it once. And after Chip Kelly said, he goes, listen, we go for 2. And he goes, we didn't get it. He goes, you think I thought we were going to go for 6 today, going for 2? He goes, it happened. He goes, no one complains when we get it all the time. And they got it like 57% of the time. So like they did the math, and it worked out for them. The Ducks used to go for 2 all the time. And they lost the game. It wasn't Kelly. It was Helfrich, the guy who replaced him. It was Helfrich. Yeah, he said, we go for it all the time. We live by the sword, you die by the sword. So if you're going to do that, that's sort of like Dan Campbell, right, George? At least he's not wishy-washy. Like some coaches are like all over the place. I might go for it, I might not. Like some of them have convictions, man. Campbell believes in rolling the dice and other guys don't. You know what I mean? But I don't like it when they're all over the place.
Yeah, if you do it all the time, that's fine. That's the way you go. That's the way you play. Your players know what's coming here, so it's no shock there. If they would have missed it again, though, this would be Tin Cup, right? It'd be Kevin Costner and Tin Cup, where you keep.
Well, it's easy for us to say now, Kurtz. Imagine everyone would be ripping quit now if they missed that again.
Did it bother you earlier in the game? Remember when they scored the touchdown and there was a personal foul on the call, and I thought, okay, they're going to go for 2, both at the 1 yard line. Instead, he cuts the extra point down in half. I don't know if I've ever seen that. You know, I understand why.
Extra point. That's a good point.
Right, because he kicked the extra point from the 7.5 yard line instead of the 15. Right, but usually teams go for the 2, right? Because it goes from a 2 to the 1 yard line. Now you're going to go for the 2-point conversion. I'm like, when he did that, I'm like, oh my God, he cut the. I don't know if I've ever seen a team. I'm sure I have, but I certainly don't remember a team doing that. Usually they go for the 2 automatically. That took me off guard as well.
And just like that, though, the Washington Commanders are leading the football game, and the pressure's on the Buccaneers, and the clock ticks fast. Like I said, I'm not exaggerating when I talk about the clock ticking fast. Look, there's 9. We've got 9:46 to be exact left right now. But the thing is, you have to say, all right, how many possessions are left in the football game if you're Tampa? 2? You know what I mean? Like you get the ball now, and it's like, okay, we better, if not, like, you know what I mean? And even then, look, last night, Baltimore ate the last 6 minutes up of the football game. I know because I had a prop. I needed a prop, and Pittsburgh never got the damn ball back. It really upset me. How about today, Kurtz? I had Jordan Love in game over 214.5 passing yards. They went to the 2-minute. They went to the 2-minute warning. They're moving the ball down the field. They go to the 2-minute warning. They come back. He throws the bomb into the end zone on the first play out of the 2-minute warning, and it's intercepted. He was at 212, George. All I needed was like just one more dump off before they did that, you know. But of course, they got to throw it in the end zone, right? That was the type of day that I had and weekend that I had. Like day late, dollar short all weekend with these props and plays, George. Like one play here, one bad call there. It's been frustrating, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's been certainly not going to be a weekend I'm going to be bragging about anytime soon here. The Jordan Love thing, I understand he has to throw the ball deep, right? You're down 2 touchdowns here, but the guy wasn't open. He was double covered. You got to pick your spots better. All right, you just have to.
Just throw it up there.
Right. I mean, that's a hope. That's really a little less than a Hail Mary. That's all he's doing there. It never really had a snowball's chance. So I wish they would be smarter about that, because we see that all the time when they're down. You're just giving up a possession. You know you have very little chance here. Speaking of chances, McMillan.
You think we're going to overtime? I think overtime could be in the air. Big play to McMillan over the middle of the field. We're waiting for him to make a big play.
Well, overtime would mean Tampa kicks a field goal, not a touchdown, unless you're going to hope for a couple of possessions.
No, I know, but I'm just saying right now for the odds, everybody, and I know our boy Mike Parsons in the chat likes to play the overtime props. It's plus 500 right now to go to overtime this football game. We haven't had any drama this weekend. You know what I mean? It would be fitting, actually, that the weekend ends with some overtime. And the way both these teams are, it wouldn't surprise me if they screw up. But like you said, would it end 2020? I kind of get the feeling there's going to be more points. Oh, nice run from Irving. He got away. Tampa are grinding here. They're on the Washington 45-yard line right now. Get into field goal range. We could have a 20-20 game, Kurtz. In-game totals up to 46.5. Did you bet the over the game? I'm assuming you did.
Of course I did. I thought this game would. I got to stop, by the way, because I think I've lost, or I think I've won one.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
So I got to stop.
I know.
It's. But this is the one game that I was never hesitated on for the over. I really thought it would be high. I did hesitate on.
What about tomorrow night?
Houston, Baltimore.
Because after all this, with the Rams and Vikings, I have a hard time betting the over to get to 48 suddenly in this game. The Rams are pretty conservative too. People think, Cup and Nakua, but they don't throw bombs. They throw a lot of quick hits. They run the ball a lot with Williams. McVay does shorten the clock as well. And I don't think McVay wants to get into a track meet with the Minnesota Vikings. And conversely, I don't think O'Connell is going to trust Darnold so much early in this game. I think they're going to be like, we can't let him throw interceptions early and blow his confidence. I think they're going to try to a little bit more ball control as well to start the game tomorrow, Kurt. So even I don't want to bet the over tomorrow.
I'm not going to do it pregame. I think tomorrow, as far as the total is concerned, is I'm going to watch the game, right? See what's going on.
Here's a big play for Cade Otton.
There's Cade Otton live. Right, they're easily within field goal range now. So
they're looking for a TD though. They want a TD. They don't want. You know what I mean?
Right. Plenty of time here. So
they scored a touchdown.
I want to watch Darnold. Gabe, to make sure that he looks good, at least confident. He looked terrible. You and I watched the game this week. He was awful, god awful. All right, and if he's awful again, if he's feeling nerves again, where he's nervous because it was a big game this week, and he looked like he was seeing what you call it on the promo. He was living in a haunted house because he's seeing ghosts.
Yeah, forget ghosts. He lives in a haunted house. Yeah,
right. Yeah. And I certainly agree with you there. So I need to see him first. I'm not going to bet the under, but before I'll do an in-game over once I see what he looks like, because I don't trust him right now, and that affects my Jefferson props. It affects my Addison props. I think they're going to run with Aaron Jones, but I think the Rams know this too.
It was crazy to imagine the storyline that if Darnold got hurt or O'Connell said, you know what, I'm putting Daniel Jones in. Jones somehow wins in the playoffs. That would be a twisted storyline. So Baker Mayfield now running for yards. And, he just got stuffed. Hang on to that ball, Baker. He just got stuffed. He just picked up 9 yards or whatever rushing the ball. But on the 2nd and 1, he ran the ball again. He tried sort of a quick sneak. But he actually got popped backwards. They got a 3rd down coming up here. 5:50 left in a 2017 game. The Commanders have the lead.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. I'm Morency kicking it with George Kurtz, and me and Kurtz are trying to conspire to get this game over the number somehow, but it's asking a lot. We would need 23-23 and then a field goal. 2 field goals and then a touchdown in overtime. The 6 in overtime somehow.
You want
there
to really
seems to be a lot of
greedy?
touchdowns in overtime.
Washington just scores quick. Washington scores a touchdown quick. I don't know, a kickoff return. There we go. Really be greedy. Get more than.
I got Tampa, though. Are you on a side? I've got Tampa on the money line. I didn't play around with the 3 because I was like, I needed to win. I want to win tonight. I'm getting frustrated. So I was like, if I bet the 3, I bet it's going to be a push. So I'm taking the damn minus 160 on the money line. But I do have the over. I got an in-game over 44.5, 2 Kurt. So 23-20 doesn't help me either. Mike Evans is up to 7 right now. Still need 1 from him. And McLaurin's at 6. 84 yards, Kurtz. I don't know what your yardage is for him. 84 yards.
Yeah, I need definitely need another catch. One more catch. Got the touchdown. Yardage, it was either 86.5 or 83.5. I think Evans had the other number. So
I think it's 84.5, actually. It's crazy. It's 85. You're right. It's right there right now. Like, I think it's right one there, more type of deal, yeah.
Just catching
the ball. He got screwed for like 17 on one. There was a big gain, and there was a penalty.
Yeah, we thought we had our everything right there. It's all right. That's it. They got a possession here. They're gonna go to McLaurin at least once. Just catch the ball. Maybe even an easy pass, right? I don't need to be down.
Like you said.
Easy.
If any team, too, I'm gonna call it now. Don't be surprised. Kingsbury will throw a bomb, I think, on this. I could see Washington getting aggressive here. I don't think they're just going to run the ball over and over. So I think there will be some passes from Daniels. You got Jaden Daniels. You're going to try to put him on the ropes here, Look how many times they've gone for it. They're clearly like an aggressive and go for it mode.
I mean, unless it's Daniels, they're not running the ball. Eckler's got 19 yards, Robinson 17. I mean, so it's either Daniels running the ball or Daniels passing the ball. I don't see them trying to run the ball down the field here.
Remember before the game, guys, I talked about how the Buccaneers have the third worst rush defense in the National Football League. George, they give up over 137 yards a game on the ground. And Tampa this year, guys, 7-1 when they rush for 140 or more yards in a football game. So I brought that point up off the top, George, about how, Tampa likes to throw the ball, but you can run the ball on Washington. And here we are, lo and behold, if you look at the numbers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have rushed for 101 yards right now. So they're a little bit under that number that puts them into almost an automatic win Jaden Daniels is dangerous here, though, bro. I think, I'm a little bit concerned for my Tampa side here, Kurtz. I wouldn't be surprised if Washington does score. The question is just how quickly are they going to do it?
I expected a high-scoring game, so I'm certainly not surprised if Washington scored. My only question is, will it be a touchdown or a field goal? That's really my only thing here. He's also a rookie. Could he make the mistake? He hasn't really made that in this game. Could he make the mistake in this game, too, throughout the course of the playoffs? So it should be fun. Just please, before you do anything, just get it to McLaurin. Right? One pass to McLaurin. That's all I'm asking for. After that, I'll deal with everything else here. McLaurin would be nice.
I'm trying to see if they have let me get the number up. So we talked about it was plus 500 to go to overtime before. Let me see what it is, where it is. And did they pull it right now?
Still don't think it's going to overtime. I hope it does, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, we're screwed. We can't get to 51.5, though, or 51, et cetera, if it goes to overtime. The most max, and we never see it, the max you can get is 9 points. Right? In the old system, I like in the college system, once I actually lost once. I had plus 12.5 once, guys, with a team, and I lost the bet at overtime, George, in college football. And it's hard to do. Imagine you're plus 12.5 and you lose the bet because they had to deal both teams get the ball on the 25. So one team scored, the team that I bet against scored the touchdown, kicked the extra point, so there was 7. And then the next pass, the other team threw a pick 6, and I lost by 13. I'll never forget. I was sitting there in shock. I was like, I don't know. It was and then those overtime rules at the time were new. And I was like, I can't believe I just got screwed and lost at plus 12.5 in overtime. I was like, how is this even possible? That was the worst thing that could happen happened. So I was just thinking in this. But either way, you can only get 9, Kurtz. And when's the last time you've ever seen 2 teams score in overtime anyways? When's the last time? I can't even recall. Is someone kicking a field goal, the other team kicking a field goal, or you know what I mean? It never happens.
I can't. Nothing's come to mind so I don't know. I don't think it happened. Certainly, don't think it happened this year. No, usually one team just wins with a touchdown. It looks like most teams win with a touchdown. It's not even a field goal. They win with a touchdown, and the game's just over. I think it's rare, not super rare, but rare that we even see both teams get the ball. Wait, I guess you could get 12 points, right? Field goal, touchdown.
Good call. Yeah. So that's what we need, Kurtz. We're really thank you. There you go.
Hey, you're fine.
There you go.
No
so
problem.
We need to go to overtime. Both teams kick the field goal. One good thing that we have on our side, just thinking out loud here, Kurtz. Regular season's only 10 minutes. These guys will have to play all night if they just trade back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
Right, so theoretically, they can get
field goal.
Right, here we go. So I guess that'd be funny. Especially with these 2 kickers, right?
The kickers are good, though. The kickers are good. So it's going to end up 23-20, Kurtz. And it's going to overtime because I'm pissed I didn't bet it. I bet that plus 500. And it's off the board now. They don't have it up anymore. It was plus 500 when I talked about it.
It would be plus 5 now, maybe plus 180. They keep trying to run the ball. Robinson, he's been done for weeks. But I keep saying on all the shows we have, he hasn't looked good in weeks. He looks terrible. Maybe it's not him. Maybe the offensive line can't run block. It's not like anybody else in this team is doing anything outside of Daniels. But, man, Robinson has looked weak.
I got to tell you, Washington have got to be careful here. They're going to give the ball back to Tampa, and perfect opportunity for Tampa to just take their time and kick a field goal after. I like to see it pass. If you're going to complete it, go to McLaurin here. We need one more from McLaurin. It's 3rd and 6, 3:20 left. We're going to a commercial, so something dramatic's probably going to happen.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day. I am Morency. And this game, been a strange game. Tampa really had their opportunities. Like, Tampa had that opportunity to pull away. So basically, I said, they muffed the snap, but they kind of got this. They did get the snap off, but it wasn't natural. And you brought up another time, Kurtz. You said it seemed like the time, they weren't expecting a snap on one of the run plays. I said, you know what? I think they're not good. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a natural flow. And Baker, he got the snap, but looked like he was sort of falling backwards, like the momentum. Like, it wasn't like a solid turnaround, and it screwed the timing up. And McMillan ran past him. Baker fumbles the football, and Baker on the sideline was apologizing, stating, "It's on me. It's on me." After, listen, Baker responded. He just threw a bullet. He's played well, but the bottom line is, Kurtz, man, the clock is just ticked. There's only 2 minutes left in this football game suddenly right now. Like, Tampa's got to do whatever's going to happen. Tampa's got to make it happen fast, right? They got to get up. They got to get the ball back, man.
Yeah, they're going to have to start using their timeouts really immediately here. I'm sure Washington's hoping for another first down, eat up all those timeouts, and then attempt to kick the game-winning field goal from wherever they can get to. I don't think we're going to get a touchdown. I can't believe we're sweating out this McLaurin. But we are, because I don't know how much they're going to throw the ball either.
McLaurin's at 7 for 89 now, Kurtz. 7 for 89 for the record.
We missed one.
Yeah. 7 for 89.
Done. Then I don't care.
7 for 89 for him. I need one more from Evans, which will happen if they get the ball back.
Dangerous pass that was.
And then there's the other side of this. Oh, boy. So they pick it up.
On purpose, by the way. You got to start thinking about that.
Austin Eckler with the grab, and he picked up like a big chunk. Like, they're in field goal range for real now. They're on the 26-yard line. And since they pick up the first down, you're kind of screwed here. You have to let the clock go, George. Like, they're going to have to let it go and now use the timeout after on this next play. They used it right away, huh? I guess it's the same thing. You got to get to stops anyways, right? But here it is. You got no choice.
I don't know if Washington would do it anyway, but you could let them score on purpose. Because at this point, you're in field goal. Unless there's a penalty, you're in field goal. Even if there is a penalty, they're in field goal range, unless it's a personal foul. So you've got some problems here. They're going to run the ball this down. And there'll be a timeout. Probably run the ball on second down, timeout, and that's in the end of your timeouts. And on third down, I mean, Quinn would have to have some Big Brass Cajon used to throw the ball on third down and not kill the 40 seconds. So I'm going to have Daniels up. Once again, that play looked all screwed up too, and it may not matter.
Tampa are in a lot of trouble. They just picked up a big chunk of it. That's the worst case scenario, George, when you're trying to stop, you know what I mean? They're close to a first down. They picked up 8 yards. They got no choice but to call the timeout now. Now they just need another first down for 2 or 3 yards, and the game's over. Tampa can't do anything about it. There's a new set of downs.
They either got to pray for a Zane Gonzalez miss or let him score. That's all your only choices here.
I mean, it's down to a minute now, guys. Unbelievable how quickly the 9 minutes went. Tampa, I said, maybe they'll touch it twice. They touched it once. They did score, but they never touched the ball again. They got the stop on second down. Sets up a big 3rd and 1. For some teams, that was a nice tackle. For some teams, I would say, well, you know what? Like the Eagles, you're screwed. Washington have screwed up these short yardage situations all night. Massive play coming up here. He won't go for it. He's got to kick the field goal if they don't get it.
If he goes for it, crazy. He's absolutely certifiable. Assuming you stop them, they kick the field goal, you'll have
about 45 seconds.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And no timeouts.
Field goal,
and no timeouts.
You need.
And no timeouts.
But if you get assuming they kick the ball to the end zone, you get it to 30, you'd only need to go 40, 35 yards for a field goal shot. Listen, I'm trying to be optimistic here.
And if you're Washington, it's dangerous to throw the ball here because it could stop the clock. You know what I mean?
You can't throw the ball. You can't throw the ball.
But the whole thing is,
it's 3rd and a half. Run the ball.
I know, but the whole thing is, you can do just a quick little screenplay type thing because they have a hard time running the ball in short yardage situations. So they might. We're going to see. Daniels is going to be in the shotgun. He's going to be in the shotgun. So, you know what I'm saying? They're already going to be putting themselves 5-6 yards back to begin with.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think I'm still running the ball. I got to assume that with 42 seconds, assuming everything goes the way we think it's going to go, they can't score. And you might get the first down anyway, and it doesn't matter.
I know. They get the first down, and it's game over unless they block the field goal or miss the field goal. What a disaster.